Right, I've cleaned the nut. Now you can tell on the nut which way round it went on. No marks on that side, marks on that side, so obviously that went in. But I'm just going to put a touch of just a one little drop of Loctite on this, but I put it on the threads of the nut. And as I say, it is just a drop. And then remember when you put this on that your how you would normally undo the nut is tightening on this one, as in a left hand thread. And if you get any Loctite on that bearing surface, you wipe it off straight away. And I'm probably going to do the same again to tighten this, but I'll go and get it under because I never bothered taking the. I'll go under the swing arm. I have to lift the swing arm a touch. Now, I can lock it in there actually. So, alter that to go the other way, and you keep onto the screwdriver. And then before you think you're finished, so to speak, just give the washer the lock plate a wipe off. Your lock plate, which I'll show you in a sec when I've finished wiping it off, has got it's like a star shape in, so it'll fit on in different, but you don't have to go like a full hex turn, if you know what I mean. And what you want to do is put it on, obviously, so that the, oh look at that. Now then, where's my bolts? Now that's tight. You heard it rattling with this gut thing. I don't know if it says anywhere on here. But this has got ridiculous amounts of torque. That's probably tighter than if I'd done it with the torque wrench. So, that said, I'll just put the two little lock tabs in. Just make sure they both go in first, which they do. So I'll just have the tiniest little drop. And also, where I've got this lock plate, it can't actually, yes there's slots in the lock plate, but these screws are at the start, they're at the end of the slot. If it moves to the other end of the slot, it means that's tightening up, so it's not going to be able to loosen itself off, is what I'm trying to say. Not that it will anyways, with tightening up with that fucking animal of a fucking rattle gun. just give it a final right. So that's that on. So what I need to do now is get the frigging belt on. So I shall get the belt. So I need I'm going to have to do a bit of jiggery pokery with the belt. Take the tag off it. Put that on actually. Oh, I see. Right, so when you put the belt on, the way I always do it is if you rotate the belt round, eventually you'll come across the Harley Davidson logo. So point at the top of the logo, just the normal bottom of the bar and shield. So you turn it so that when you're looking at it, it's in correct orientation, so that faces, like the bottom of the bar and shield faces out the way. So if I'm lucky here, I'm going to be able to slide that down the side of the foot peg hanger and around the pulley, and then when I get it down there, lift the swing arm up and oh, you fucking beauty. So that's the belt in position. The good thing with this one, with these Dynas, is you don't need to take the swing arm off. The Electric Glide, that's a different kettle of fish. You've got to take the swing arm out because the frame comes on the outside and you've got to get it past the frame, so to speak. I don't know if you'll be able to see any as well, just in case anyone notices. I mean, I can see my hand in the screen, but I'm not, as I say, the screen's small, so I can't really see what I'm looking at. That area's wet. Now it's wet with WD-40 basically, because I've been spraying it down his stand, because his stand's squeaky. So I'm just trying to free it up a bit. I might even whip the stand off when I get this lot out of the way and just put some fresh grease in it. Right, so that's the belt on. What I'll do now is I'll pick this seal off here, which is just like a giant O-ring. I'll just chuck that down there and go and get the new one. Right, so I've got a new one here, but I think what I'll do first is get myself a clean bit of rag and just give that a wipe round there. So what I'll do, I'm just going to knock it off. I'm not going to do anything mechanically. I'm just going to have a quick clean round this edge, and then when I come back we'll fit this on and we'll put the inner primary back on. Right, so I'll be back soon. Right, put this new seal on. These really can be a pain in the butt, because what you try not to do is twist them. So what you do is you get it so far and then you just give it a little tug and it just flips over edge. As in, you just pull it down, so you're almost stretching it but not overly stretching it. It'll spring back, but you don't want to sort of get it to a point and then roll it off the edge. Right, and with that done, it's time to put this primary cover back on. So you've got to be careful here because you can get your belt trapped. So I'll just rest that on there for now and get the belt in position so that I can that should, as long as I haven't trapped any of the bolts. What have I just done here? There. Hello. Oh. Right, we'll carry on with this. Got a visitor then. So, I've obviously just put the inner primary back on. Made sure that the belt is inside the inner primary, because if you're not careful you can actually get the belt to come out the bottom side of the primary, which is what you don't want. So I shall just nip these out one at a time. Just put a little touch of Loctite on. Fucking spread a bit when I put that on. I didn't think I'd put that bigger. Make sure I get the right size. I'll just wind these in to start with by hand. Put one of these outside ones in. Yeah, when you're putting your inner primary on, the only downside when you use a long reach socket is the bolt goes up the inside of the socket before it reaches the threads. Yeah, when you're putting your inner primary on, you just, as you saw, offered it up, made sure the belt wasn't in the wrong place, and then you just give it a knock, because it does locate on the dowels. A bit like, you know, you got your dowels here for your outer primary cover, and a dowel there. It's the same for the inner. It's got a couple of dowels that it locates on. Might as well put the other one of them in. And what I'll also do is, before I tighten these properly, I'll put the two bolts back in through the starter motor. Then I'll nip these all up properly. I'm going to rephrase that. I'll start the bolts going in through the starter motor. Then I'll nip all these up and then I'll tighten the starter motor up, or should I say the bolts on the starter motor. Right, I knocked you off then because my last was gone out, so carry on getting these in. Before I put the camera back on, what I just quickly did was put the two bolts back in on the starter side, just so it was done. Right, so I'll nip them up. Now this thing isn't set on a massively high setting neither, but it'll be more than the torque setting. What I'll just quickly do is nip them up on the other side. Nice to do that one. Let it fucking wiggle properly. Get in there, you bastard. Right, got my fucking hand stuck now. So that's the bottom front of the starter motor tightened up. I'll just do this back one, which is a lot easier to do that. Right, lost the battery again then. So I've tightened the bolts up on the starter motor. tightened all these ends up. I've got these tags to knock over, which I'll do in a minute. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all the starter motor stuff back in. So I've just got it as a hole with the spring in. I'm just going to thread it in through the hole. That's it, and it's engaged. So it's in. Feed the little. Now on here, there's like a. I've just got it in. Nope. There's a looks like a keyway on the top of the shaft, and you want that washer. There's a leg sticks into that washer, so you want the little tag part to stick into that. Oh, I've got my finger in the way. I'll try and I'm just holding the washer in until I get the bolt up to it. And, that's handy. Shove it through without the washer coming off. Right, you just get it till it, obviously as you've seen there, it just started to spin, and then just nip it up till you've got a flat against the tag. It doesn't need to be massively tight, remember it's just a tiny little thin bolt. So to tighten that one up, just use my grips, and that's on. And most of these you can get away with using, as long as you can get the jaw behind it. Some of them you can't get the jaw behind them all the time, so like that one for instance. If I can get this in. I don't think I can get that one. Maybe get it so far. And the other one I'll knock in. So just bend the ones you can with your grips. Get on there, you fucking ass. And make sure that they're nice and secure. I'll have another go at that one actually. Yes. So I've got that one to pull in, unless I can get on that way, which looks like I can. So that's that one. So there's just that one there that I need to tap in. So I'll get my punch, which was kicking around here somewhere, and just go in. Just at an odd angle. So I might just have to. That one wasn't actually bent out anyways to start with, so it can fucking stay like that. Just can't get on it to pull it round. So next step is to put this rotor back on carefully. Oh, maybe that's it. And then that can go back on. And And basically the I'll put that back on first so it's in position, and then we'll put this lot back on. That's on and that's on. So what I'll do is I'll put the compensator back on. No, it goes on the normal way, that one. I'll get that back on. And I'm rushing a bit far ahead of myself there, because what I should have done was just put a little bit of Loctite. But never to worry, won't take long to take it back off again. There we go, that'll stay on there. Alright, so it won't. Just going to put a little bit of Loctite just in the thread. Same on that one. Yeah, I was just trying to tighten that, numbnuts. Let's get that in. I'll lock that one in a minute actually. That one can go in there. I'll change to a different. Is that an inch and a half? Nope. What have I done with that? Duh, right in front of me. That's tight now. I'll lock that and change that and get my ready. Nice and tight. And before I do hotels, let's make sure I get this the right way around. Make sure that's in its see the plate that it runs up and down on this side, like so. It fits into one the same on the other side, which it's obviously in because this is touching top and bottom. So right, so that's all snug. Now, what I was on about before, you've still got play in your belt, sorry, in your chain. But if I was to pull that up, you see that's just, unlike the newer Harley automatic adjusters that adjust and then lock the cells, so you're constantly on mega tight but it won't loosen itself off, whereas that will, you can see it's actually going up and down. So what I might as well just quickly do is chuck these clutch plates back in. Thought I was going to be able to get away with that. So in you can. Get one of these bolts in, just hold all this together. I may even put two in, just so it fucking move. Now, it's the same as when I took it off. You don't just put two bolts in and then tighten them up like fuck, because you can bend your plate. Put all six in. And then you equally tighten them, so like go around, you can either do a full turn or a half a turn on each one until they're all nipped up, and then it lessens the chance of getting any warpage in your in this plate here. I mean, your spring plate won't warp because that's a spring plate, it'll just fucking spring back. I'll have to adjust his clutch as well when I'm done. So, I think if I'm not mistaken, I did that with a spanner, and it wasn't that one. Don't think that it was that one either. Strange. I don't seem to have another spanner kicking about. Oh, my old knees. It's not one of them. Oh, I know what it maybe was. They've now all bottomed out. So I'll tighten them up properly in a minute, but what I'll do next is I'll put the pusher in, the adjuster. Make sure that give that a clean off the little bracket, and hopefully I can just shove this back in. Oh, just pushed that a bit too hard there, and it spun on me. I don't want to push, it should just be... Oh, come on, you fucking dick. I need to get my proper fucking circlip pliers out. Can't be arsed. Right, I'm just going to knock you off for a minute. I'll ratchet my circlip pliers out because God knows where they're at the minute. I'll be back in a minute.